Hi, everyone, and welcome back for part two of our question and answer video assignment. Now, in this section, we're going to talk about revolution. Revolution is what's going to be responsible for the seasons. So, while rotation was responsible for day and night, revolution is responsible for summer, spring, fall, and winter. So, the reason that we have seasons is basically because the way the Earth orbits around the sun and the tilt of the Earth. So let's jump into the definition of revolution. When we talk about revolution, we're talking about when a planet or a moon travels around the object it is orbiting one at a time. Now, if you look at the image on your screen, you notice the Earth is revolving around the sun. So the Earth is traveling around the sun and it's traveling one at a time. Okay? The moon revolves around the Earth. So those are just two examples of revolution in action. If you want to get really technical here and you look at the Earth, you also notice the Earth has a green arrow on it. So not only is this image showing the Earth revolving around the sun, but it's also showing the Earth rotating around its own axis. Okay, when we talk about revolution around the sun, we're basically just talking about the Earth moving around the sun. Now, the path that the Earth takes is something called an orbit. So, an orbit basically is this path or line that the Earth will take around the sun as it travels the 365 and a quarter days. The shape of the orbit is something called an ellipse. An ellipse is just a stretched out oval. So if you look at the picture on the right hand corner of your screen, you notice that red circle is almost a stretched out circle. So it almost looks like a jelly bean. That orbit, it's going to take the Earth 365.25 days. Now remember, the reason why we have that 0.25 at the end is because of leap year. Now, let's talk a little bit more about why this is responsible for seasons. The Earth is actually tilted on its axis. We know already that the Earth is tilted at a 24-degree tilt. Now, since it's tilted, the direction that the Earth revolves will always point towards the sun. So basically, what we're seeing is portions of the Earth will be hit with direct sunlight, and other portions of the Earth will be hit with indirect sunlight. So here we go. If you look at the image, you notice that the sun is hitting the Earth at different spots. So basically, what's happening is if it is summer in one area, it's going to be winter in the opposite area. And the same thing goes for spring and fall. That's when we're having neither direct or indirect sunlight. So, we live in the northern hemisphere. When our hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, we experience summer. If we lived in the southern hemisphere, we would be experiencing winter. Now, both hemispheres are experiencing different seasons on the exact same day. So, if it is June 21st in Middletown, New Jersey, and it is 90 degrees, it is actually going to be in Melbourne, Australia, on the opposite side of the world in the southern hemisphere. It will still be June 21st. However, the temperature could be in the 50s. So, whichever hemisphere is tilted towards the sun is experiencing summer, and whichever hemisphere is facing away from the sun is experiencing winter. Here we go on the flip side. This time, the southern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun. That's going to be their summertime. And now the northern hemisphere is tilted away. That's the wintertime for us. So currently, we are tilted away from the sun since we are in winter. All right, so the amount of sunlight deals directly with what season we are in. If we are experiencing direct sunlight, we're tilted towards the sun. We are in summertime. If we have indirect sunlight, meaning we're tilted away from the sun, we're in winter, which is our season that we are in right now. And then, last but not least, if we have neither, so the tilt of the Earth, it's not tilted towards or away from the sun. That's when we're experiencing spring and fall. Here's the crazy part though. If we were not tilted, so if we were not on that 24-degree tilt, we would not have seasons at all. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Seasons are always opposite in the northern and southern hemisphere. So, whatever season we're experiencing in North America, South America is experiencing the exact opposite. So, if you look at your image on the screen, you notice you have the northern and southern hemisphere, and they're separated by the equator. So, if we are to the north of the equator, we live in the northern hemisphere. If we're to the south of the equator, we're in the southern hemisphere. Okie dokie. This was something that we drew in our notebooks recently. This is just a great example of how the seasons are affected by the amount of sunlight. So, that was it for today's review on rotation and revolution. I hope that helped, and I also hope that it will help you on today's Gizmo assignment. Great job today, everyone.